Hello everyone, it's January 22nd, 2015, and this is another Playscii dev update. I just came off of doing some really boring, frustrating compat stuff, but I wanted to take some time to do a demo here because since I think the last video, things are pretty legit now, which is to say you can do this. And I am clicking the mouse, doing all that stuff. I can paint characters of different colors all around. And I'm using the keyboard to switch between the selected character and foreground color and background color and so forth. So that's obviously a bit cumbersome and not, not what you would really want to be making art with. But the next step is definitely to get the pop-up working, where you hit spacebar and it brings up this whole thing, brings up the pop-up, and you can pick a character or a color. So yeah, that's where I'm headed next. But to get to this point, I had to do the whole turn the mouse coordinates into turn the screen coordinates into 3D world coordinates. And as you can see, when I tilt the camera here, I added a little key to tilt and untilt the camera. I think eventually that'll be a more analog kind of control, but for now I just have it for testing. You can see that it doesn't quite match up, so there's something goofy with my deprojection math there. I think that's over here, so it's doing all kinds of stuff. So if you have an idea, like I think a lot of programmers out there have probably done this before, and if you have an idea of what I'm doing wrong or a common caveat or something like that, it works fine when I do this, when I'm in top-down view, because there really is like a one-to-one mapping between, the camera offset and the world projection and all that kind of stuff. Now it is still a let me quit out here then. There is still... Gee, I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say. But, oh yeah, and the other thing that you can do is, now that I've got this, and there's a grid drawing, as you can see. There's a grid that draws, and you can tell what layer you're painting on just by the depth of it. And we can be painting stuff and it's beneath this other stuff. And then we can go up a layer and the grid moves with us. And yeah, and then we can paint over this stuff. Let me change up the colors here. Fs, so many Fs, angry. But yeah, you can see that stuff moving in parallax here. And let's do a couple more characters here. And so yeah, we're painting underneath this stuff. I think ultimately, there will be a pane off to the right, kind of like Photoshop, that will allow you to, toggle certain layers on and off of visibility, and things like that. But for now, so yeah, this is a big step. I'm pretty happy with it. Bugs aside. So yeah, and I think the next step is indeed to get the UI panel working, because that really is that is the single biggest barrier to Edsky being to Playscii being an actual usable editor now. So we're getting pretty close there. The stuff that I spent most of my time on today was less exciting, but you can see some of the fruits of that here. I tried to get builds working on my old laptop, which runs old Ubuntu and Windows XP and all that, and I ran into some trouble with it, and then I was like, oh, and I actually made a Windows executable build and distributed that to some people, and some of them had crashes. So I was really just chasing down a lot of those compat and build things, which is not very fun, but I've at least put in some tools to help troubleshoot that. Like at the beginning, it sort of dumps out. You see this, you know, when you boot up a game engine or a expensive piece of software, sometimes it'll tell you exactly what, oh, you've got an NVIDIA card and it's this version drivers and all this junk. And so I just had to put that stuff in, and the program will actually, if you boot it up on a computer that's got too underpowered or unfeatureful of a video card, then it will actually bail out. And there's a config setting that you can set to tell it, no, I'm sure I know what I'm doing. But really, like when it bails out and says, sorry, I won't run Playscii for you, it's actually like, I mean, it really would just crash down the line. So this is just a catch a crash and give an error that is hopefully more useful to the user. I don't know how much more time I can really justify spending on this on that compat kind of stuff. Like, I'm targeting a specific kind of OpenGL feature set. It's vanilla 2.1, so any card made in the last 5+ years should be okay. It's just this really old and weird stuff that was running into troubles. So I don't know, like, you know, I've got a game to make, so I'm not gonna like worry about compat stuff for now. But this was educational, at least, you know. I was just kind of having to go in and mess with that. One thing I don't know if I've covered in a recent video is that the application supports like resizing and stuff. Like, you can actually size the window down to something like 640 by 480. You can actually scale the UI, and like the UI just has a uniform scale factor which holds up on different aspect ratios and stuff. And the font, when you go down to 640 by 480, the font gets pretty squinchy, but you can still read it, and so that's cool. And you can also full screen. I don't know if this is going to wig out my my video recording, my desktop recording software, but yeah, you can do that and have a whole full screen kind of environment. You can size the fonts up a little. I put this in partly because my laptop has a high DPI display, and I wanted to be able to, you know, use that or something. Although I think SDL2's high DPI support is doing me some favors there. So anyway, that's a cool thing that it does, and it was some work to do it, but you know, it's just in keeping with what I would want a modern application to be and all that. So yeah, pretty soon here, I mean, hopefully the next time I do a video, I will have some semblance of this pop-up going, and I'll actually be able to create art, like, you know, in a pretty flow-conducive kind of way that's, you know, more or less on parity with Edski. So that's super awesome. I might post some art on Twitter when I get that done. I guess the step after that would be PNG export, you know, like if you've made something and you want to just export it to an image so you can post it somewhere, you know, in the non-native Playscii format. But yeah, I think that's about it. There's a whole bunch of other small fixes and just code cleanup and stuff like that that, you know, feels pretty good and necessary to do at this point. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support, Patreon patrons, as always, and for your kind words on Twitter and stuff. And yeah, I guess that's all I've got for you. See you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.